My college tutor said to me, "Ah, my dear fellow, so you're going to read history. Fascinating subject. After all, what is history? Divine gossip about the past among gentlemen. Have another glass of port."
History is more than a page in a book. History is the buckle that bites your back. History is the sweat you can't keep out of your eyes. History is the fear crawling in your belly.
Of Wales, where does it start? Well, I reckon it starts right here on this wild cliff of Paviland in the Gower Peninsula, 50 miles west of Swansea. And the reason I've chosen this point is quite simple. Just round the corner from here, on a rather slippery rock traverse, which I hope I can negotiate, they found in the Paviland Caves the remains of the very first human being. I'd even call him the first Welshman whom we can recognize in our history. They dug him up, and they discovered he was the remains of a young man who lived 17,500 years ago.
I want to begin this history of Wales with this particular journey into a Welsh past at Blaenavon Big Pit in Gwent. For years, one Welshman in every four made this journey every day of his working life, and thousands of Welsh women worked alongside them. 60 years ago, nearly half the population of Wales lived from this hard and dangerous work underground. Of course, human beings have lived in these two western peninsulas of Britain for thousands of years. It's over the last 1,500 years that those people have lived here as Welsh people. Today, it looks to me as if the Welsh people have been declared redundant. As redundant as this pit, which after 200 years is now a museum. This is a museum. Wales is being turned into a land of museums. Now, what is shoveling us into these folk museums? History, they say, history. What's this history?
And here's the cave. And in there, surrounded by bones of prehistoric animals, lay this broken skeleton. Beside it, a few precious possessions, and his bones stained with red ochre in a pathetic attempt to bring the lad back to life. He's the start of our long journey through the ages, which we will also try to bring back Welsh history to vivid life.
History isn't something you can bring to life, because history isn't a story, it's an inquiry. The past is chaos. We in the present make sense of that past by manufacturing a history out of it. We do that by putting questions to it. And the kind of questions you put depends upon who you are, what you are, when you are. We won't ask the same questions as our grandparents. A collier won't ask the same questions as a merchant banker, a wife as a husband, a Welsh speaker as an English speaker. To my mind, the kind of questions we need to put are the ones that serve the majority. The ordinary working men and women of Wales who throughout those 1500 years carried the rest on their backs. They are generally bent and exploited backs. When were we? When did we begin? What were we? How have we changed? How have we got into the mess we're in today? What have colliers to do with old Stone Age men? What have colliers to do with medieval princes? We've been around for 1500 years, but our history has been an endless sequence of brutal ruptures. Break after break after break, and with every break, the Welsh people have been transformed. So far, we've survived, but we've survived in crisis. For 1500 years, the Welsh people, as a Welsh people, have lived in a permanent state of emergency.
Welsh history is a permanent state of emergency? Wales continually reinventing itself? No, that's not the way I see it. This is Arthur's Stone, the great prehistoric cromlech that the Welsh call Maen Ceti, and which crowns the long ridge of Cefn Bryn, running right down through the heart of the delectable Gower Peninsula, westward from Swansea. And I've known Arthur's Stone ever since I was a little boy. It goes back into history. I stroke the rugged rocks, and I feel I'm directly in touch with the people who've set it up here 2,500 years BC, thousands of years ago. And as I stand here, don't talk to me about any lack of continuity in Welsh history. Here we are in the heart of the Bro, as the Welsh call it, the locality in which you're brought up, which you live, which you love, every inch of it, for which you're determined is going to stay unchanged, and for which you'll fight to keep unchanged. On the slopes of the Preseli Hills in far west Wales. Yes, I admit it's part of prehistory, long before writing. No one can put a name to the people who built these old Stone Age monuments, or even to the great Iron Age forts that followed them. People influenced by the course of the sun and the stars when they built their stone circles? We don't know. But I still think that their presence in these islands thousands of years before the Celts arrived has some influence on our history. The ghosts from the distant past still haunt us. It was from here, on the Preseli Hills, that they dragged the blue stones to the great stone circle of Stonehenge in distant Wiltshire. You look at these hills, and I defy you not to feel a strong link with our remote past. No, don't talk to me about discontinuity.
Discontinuity is just what I want to talk about, because Welsh history has been nothing but change. The history of the Welsh has been a series of shocks inflicted on them from outside. Shocks, breaks, ruptures. The Welsh in their history have suffered from so many ruptures, it's a wonder they haven't succumbed to multiple spiritual hernia.